following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. This is the mother of all podcasts. Yeah, check this out. It's the Happy Hour with the DallasCowboys.com All-Stars.
Them Cowboys!
Yeah!
Welcome to the Happy Hour at Concrete Cowboy at the Star in Frisco this week. On the lineup, coming in hot, Brian brought us to my right. How you doing, Brian?
Doing well. Excited to be here.
Excited that you are here.
Yes.
Not Clyde Simmons.
Thank you.
Be hitting me
To my left,
Hi.
Nasty Nick Eatman. How are you, brother?
The Gladiator, Nick
Okay.
Eatman.
Cool. Those are two new ones. I'm doing good.
You good? You good? Rob Phillips, the quiet one. How are you, brother?
Doing good. Is that my wrestling nickname?
Yeah, the quiet one.
Nasty Nick Eatman. I
And-
like
and
that.
the quiet
Nasty
one,
Nick Eatman,
Rob
okay.
Phillips. And the always boisterous, my partner in crime, Nate Newton. How are you, Nate?
Award-winning, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Award-winning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's get this thing going like we normally do every week. Big game on Sunday. Cowboys are one step away from clinching this division.
Wow.
And one step either forward or they can not even step at all and still clinch the division. We'll get to that in just a minute. But let's go around the table. Rob, let's start with you, Nate, since
Okay,
you're on the
I'm
left
quick.
over there. You got 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the game against Philly. Then we'll probably move forward and talk about some other things in this show. So have at it, Nate.
Cowboys won. I'm excited. I'm happy. Thank you.
And Nate's done. All right, good talk, Nate. Rob, what you got, man?
How do I follow that up?
You don't.
Dak Prescott, strange game for him the other day in terms of 3 turnovers. Wasn't good early, but overall, to me, it's getting harder and harder for people to criticize him, to doubt him as the leader of this football team, especially for what he did in fourth quarter and overtime. He was almost perfect. 17 to 20, 3 touchdowns. The intangibles are always what stands out for me the most about him. Leadership, he's a grinder, he's a winner. And what we're seeing is when he's got Amari Cooper with him, he can be a hell of a quarterback too. 75% completion of his passes in this 5-game winning streak. He just continues to get better because he works at it, and he's got talent, and he's got a lot of pieces around him. And that's the formula for this team to win.
Nick, what you got?
I mean, this team has got some issues, obviously, that you would be worried about, and everybody does. I mean, the consistency of the offense in the red zone and maybe the kicker when he's, inside of 60. But I think that when you're talking about a complete football team, I think this is as close to a complete team as you're seeing in the league right now. 8-5 doesn't look like the best team in the league, but there's nobody playing better right now. And this is a good time to peak. It's a roller coaster ride. It's going to go up and down. You hope that it stays up pretty high here, but I think that when you're talking about a team that can run the ball, that can now pass the ball, that can play defense, that they don't really beat you on special teams, this is a good team, and they're one of the best in the league.
Brought us 1 minute. What you got, man?
I think this is where this defense has been the one thing that has been consistent throughout. This is the one thing from week 1 through what we've seen right now that it has been the one thing that, we should have seen in Oxnard that you could say, hey, you can hang your hat on this defense. They've done it with rotational players. They've done it with young linebackers. They did it with a defensive coordinator or a defensive back coach that's kind of moved guys around, and they have those guys believing that they can make plays. Defense has been outstanding, I think, all year. Where the vision now comes in is from the front office of Jerry Jones saw where this division was for to be the taking. He felt like that, hey, at 3-5, I've got to do something. He's put his team in this position now by making that Amari Cooper trade, and good for him, good for the front office. It's tough to give up a first-round pick, but they did it, and they're being rewarded for it right now because I think that you had the consistency of the defense, you have Amari Cooper, you have a quarterback playing better. Nick's right. They still got issues on the offensive line, and I think they've got some issues at kicker. If you're looking for a complete team and stuff like that, I agree with Nick, but I think there's some things that you have to kind of be a little bit concerned about, but at least it's pointing in the right direction.
Let's go back, Rob. You brought up Dak, and you've won 5 in a row now.
Yep.
And to me, Dak plays up to the competition. He plays down to the competition, but he wins.
Yeah.
He's a winner. He's got that, you hear about that it factor, and he's not flashy, And he has the first half of this game is a perfect example. He made some mistakes, but he came back and he overcame those mistakes. And I got this stat from you, Nick. 8 times in Cowboys history has a quarterback thrown for over 410 yards. 7 times they lost. This week they won. He's the first one to do it. Is it time to put to rest Dak is not your quarterback, not your future? Is it time to believe in Dak? And y'all just jump in, because I'm a believer. Beginning of the year, I was kind of like, I'm not sure, but he wins. He's winning.
It's not where you think or I think or anybody. I mean, it's what Jerry thinks. And Jerry thinks Jerry's going to win with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things. And you have to realize he's not the prototype of other guys in the league. He's not Drew Brees. He's not the guys we've seen here, the Romos and Aikmans. He's Dak. He does it his way, and it's effective. And there's not many guys. I don't think there's more than a handful of guys at 25 years of age that have this many wins under his belt. So sometimes it's ugly. You're going to lose like that, too. He's going to lose games because of the way he plays, but he's got to win more than he doesn't.
I was with a guy in Green Bay that was reckless with the football, and ended up being a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Pretty good, didn't
yeah, and I'm not sitting here trying to compare. I'm just saying, if you're talking about guys that were young and made mistakes, I saw the same thing with Brett Favre in Green Bay, and you had to live with the interceptions and the crazy passes and the not knowing the plays and what's he doing, always overthrowing guys and stuff like that. And the one thing though with Favre, I mean, he was able to elevate, of course, his game, but the game around him. I think with Dak, you have to have the pieces around him, But you can't discount the ability that he has. Not only throwing the football. I mean, it's not always going to be accurate, but the guy's a winner. I mean, he really, really is. He's gonna leave it all on the field for you. And I think that's the thing. The comparisons to Favre. Favre was the same way. Favre was going to do everything in his power to win the game. Was he always going to win the game? No. But he was going to do everything in his power to win the game, and I think that's what I appreciate more about Dak, and I feel like you can build around a guy like that because I saw it happen in Green Bay.
We talked about this on our award-winning show, Talking Cowboys this morning.
Yeah.
The thing that Jerry, I think, loves about Dak, in addition to what he's done winning games for this team, is he was a rookie who got a lot of experience early. And we talked on our show about the journey that they've taken with him already. He's got 46 starts under his belt, and he's 25 years old. And I think Jerry in the front office and Jason Garrett, they feel like that time on task, as young as he is, he's just going to keep getting better with the work ethic that he has. They've already seen him make strides in that regard. It's not perfect right now.
No.
And there is a small group of quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Tom Brady, who, by the way, is the only guy who has more wins than Dak right now since 2016. Drew Brees, Nick mentioned him, that really can win without a great supporting cast. Dak's not in that category right now, and that's for 98% of the quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah.
But when he does, when he's got an elite guy on the outside like Amari Cooper, we're seeing the results, along with a defense is playing at a championship level right now.
Yeah, Jerry made this trade not only for Dak, for Garrett, but he made it the trade for his defense. Mm-hmm. He made this trade. He saw what he had, and he says, hey, this division's for the taking. And kudos to him. He was absolutely right. They're on the cusp of knocking this thing home.
Wow, man.
Whoa, go ahead.
Cowboys won that game, fellas. Cowboys won that game. That's all I got to say. Cowboys won.
Is that all you're going to do all night? Is just grab people, harass
Pretty
people
much.
in the audience, and just say,
Much.
wow.
Yeah, wow. Watching the games with him, that's what it. Wow.
Let me ask you this: so what you've seen from Dak, he's serviceable. To me, he's a winner.
Oh, he's better than serviceable.
He's better than that.
Better than
Yeah.
serviceable.
Okay, I agree.
I would say though, people have him. Shane, I mean to interrupt you there,
go ahead.
but people kind of have him in that range of where is he? Is he 12 to 15?
Mm-hmm.
Where is he? On the board. I don't think people give him nearly enough credit. I think what you need to work on though are the things that I think that are coachable. The things, the pocket presence, the holding on to the football, some of the accuracy stuff with the mechanics and things. These are all correctable things.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Is his potential still somewhat untapped?
I do. Yeah, I do. I don't think because he's always going to fight you till his last breath.
And you can't teach that, right?
Yeah, and that's the problem with things that happen in the pocket to him, because he's going to fight you for that last breath. and that's why the ball comes out and he gets hit and he's going to run, I mean, at the end of that game, he's got bandage on his hand, he's got blood all over his sleeve. That's when you look at that guy, how could you not look at him in the huddle and go, man, I have got to get the block for this guy.
Yeah.
If I'm Ezekiel, I've carried the ball 40 times in this game. I've caught it, I've run it. What am I doing? I'm throwing a block so he could throw a pass to end this thing.
Yeah.
That's what you want from your quarterback, or that's what you want from the guys around you, to that kind of leadership to help a guy like that.
Was it Staubach who said, Nick, maybe to Jerry, that if you're looking for a quarterback, you got to find one that everybody's going to follow?
Right.
I think that was like line one for Staubach.
Yeah.
And he was that guy. And that's what Dak is. I think Garrett had a quote the other day after the game, something like, he's one of those guys that you got the look in his eye that the players see it when things aren't going well. He's got that confidence of it'll be all right the next time. And that's the thing. He just keeps grinding away. That fourth quarter and overtime is pretty much as good as it gets at the quarterback position. It wasn't great for 3 quarters, but it seems like he's going to put you in position at the end because he's that much of a competitor.
For a guy that struggled so much at this time last year, those stretch of games where they were just awful, and a lot of it was being blamed on him and, the no running game and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you're going to go through a lot of that. I'll tell you something. You talk about a guy that's got players to come around him. He convinced Jason Witten, and he also convinced Des Bryant to come with you. If you look, those guys could have stood up and said, no, we need to go back to Tony.
In 2016.
In 2016. Yeah. Jason Witten saw that as his best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And he could have come out and said, you know what, we need to stick with Tony here. Let's go back to Tony. And he flipped a couple of guys that were very pro-Romo teammates to believe. And that says a lot. And it is about winning games, and that's the one thing that he's been able to do.
Nate, you got a question?
Yes, sir. We have Mike up here, man. He has a question. He said he's diehard to the point where he's always almost emotional sometimes. I say, well, don't be emotional up here. Just ask your question, comment.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask him, what do you think about the receiver corps, how they're going to step up with Amari Cooper right now, just, doing a hell of a stuff out there.
Yeah.
People doubted him as a number one, but the thing that I'm seeing right now, I kind of want to see if all the other receivers are going to kind of just wake up and get open.
Yeah, you know what I'm more interested in? That's a great question. You know what I'm more interested in? This team in 2019. I'll tell you why. Think about what the young receivers, Amari Cooper, Noah Brown. Think about that. We forgot about Cedric Wilson. How about Michael Gallup?
Yep.
You're going to have 4 young receivers. Whatever happens with Beasley and everybody else, you're going to have a young nucleus of receivers here, and they're going to try and find a way to add another guy or two. But I look at this group. I look at those 4 guys. I loved Cedric Wilson. I know he's on IR right now, but I loved him coming out of Boise State. I think this group. I think right now you could see. Okay, yeah, it's a good group. What's going to happen with Allen? Allen Hurns does the best he can. No, Allen Hurns is not. Allen Hurns is what he is. He's a tough player. He's going to make a catch or two. He's going to block when he has to. But I actually think this receiving core is going to be even better next year because of the young players, because of the Noah Browns, because of the Michael Gallups, because of the Cedric Wilsons, and because of the Amari Coopers. I think they're going to add another guy, and if they have to move on from some other ones, I have no problem with that.
Yeah. What do you got? What's happened to Cole Beasley?
He's run good routes.
I think he's still getting open.
He is.
And I was going to say the same thing because we're usually during the games in the end zone once they get inside the 40.
Yeah.
And there's several times where he's flashing across the middle. And he's got his guy beat. Is Dak is the pocket breaking down too soon for him to see him, or is he just not recognizing the right coverage?
The 27-yard touchdown pass that he threw to Cooper, that was a beautifully thrown ball. He got a pivot route inside from Beasley that he's got the guy beat. And if Dak decides to check it there, there's nothing but green to the end zone. So Beasley's going to catch that one and score. There's a lot of times where Cole Beasley does get open. That's been the impressive thing about him. He's continuing to play. Mm-hmm. He knows what's going. That catch he made in the New Orleans game to get the first down, to extend, when they didn't have any challenges left. That's just a gutsy play. He could have sulked and been pissed off in the situation, but he's still playing hard.
Nick, what's the biggest thing you took out of the Eagles game? There were a lot of negatives. It was kind of a sloppy game, but there were some positives too. What were what were a couple of positives that you took out of that game?
Well, I mean, you look at let's go to the defensive side. I mean, there was one guy that's really going to hurt him that has hurt him in Zach Ertz. The last two, not the last 2 times, but 2 of the last 4 or 5 games, he's had 14 catches on him, including just a month ago. They put Byron Jones on him some of the time, and I thought that was important, the way they put Byron Jones on 3rd down, but not every time, and just kind of made it a little bit tougher for Wentz. But he doesn't have the stats. I don't think he'll make it to the Pro Bowl, but I don't know who's covering better than Byron Jones right now, and he's doing different tasks. Michael Thomas a few weeks ago, and then Zach Ertz. 2 different type of players. So I think that's a takeaway. He needs He needs a takeaway, but that's a takeaway that I have, that this defense is really shining because of him.
Yeah, Nick's absolutely right. They played Zach Ertz. They played him differently. Of all pass plays, 19 times in zone, 9 times with Jeff Heath, 8 times with Byron Jones. And then it kind of trickled down from there. You had 2s and 1s and stuff. But they never gave him the same look. And I think that's the great thing about the plan that Chris Richard and then also with Rod Marinelli had. And just mix it up. Don't put him on, mix it up with the coverage. Don't let Wentz hone in on something that you're doing to go down after down after down. It was really a good plan.
Yeah. Rob, what was a positive you took out of that game?
One thing to piggyback on what those guys said, defensively, not just the Eagles game, but this 5-game winning streak, they're stopping the run. And that's to me, that's the first priority for Rod Marinelli in this defense. And you look at what they're doing for these last 5 games. They're 3rd ranked against the run for the season, but it's like 86 allowed per game. It's 66 during this 5-game win streak. And again, still no 100-yard rusher. I think Peterson got 99 a couple of weeks ago for Washington, but that sets everything else up. When you're facing quarterbacks like Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan and Drew Brees, you got to be able to make them one-dimensional, and that's what they're doing. That's a big credit to those guys up front, and somewhat of a patchwork group because you don't have David Irving right now. Malik Collins has been banged up at times. They've really stepped up in there.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of hits on these quarterbacks too now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that's something that's really been consistent all year though. They've been getting after these quarterbacks.
Yeah, and if you can make these guys one-dimensional, this team is good enough to cover guys in the secondary as to where you haven't been that great years before. Now you got some guys that can cover, so it's making everything kind of go together. Nate, who you got out there?
We got a guy that's been a Cowboy since he was a baby, man. He was born. His name is Clifton.
Hey, Clifton.
He was born in Jamaica.
All right.
He moved to Maryland because he thought the Cowboys were there and found out he was in Redskin country. So he finagled his way to Dallas. Now he lives in Texas. He have a question about Zeke. Clifton, glad to have you.
Yes. Well, it's more of a suggestion. I thought the NFL should not penalize Zeke to jump into that kicker because it helped to promote the Salvation Army. And it helped supporter like me to support the Salvation Army. It brings awareness to the Salvation Army. So he should never be punished by the NFL. Yeah. It's a motivation to help support the Salvation Army.
And I think there were some people in the section where the kettle is this last game that tried to help pay for that because they threw about $300 in that kettle after he scored.
That much? Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
When I support, wherever I pass the kettle now, it just reminds me of Zeke, and I put my support there.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
But he didn't really get penalized, right? The Salvation Army didn't get penalized because he donated that fine, right?
Right.
So
that's true.
It was the NFL knew exactly what they were doing.
You know,
they can request that go to the Salvation Army, right?
I think he did, and then he matched it.
Yeah.
So
I think that you look
they
at.
did okay.
I think we're going to see next year. Stephen Jones is on that competition committee. I think you're going to see people using, I saw Limbo the other day in the end zone. Mm-hmm. I've seen all kinds of by the way, the Vikings are a really creative team when it comes to
bowling.
I mean, they're the best. They must practice. They must have a period during the day they practice.
I didn't see anything last night.
No, it was a rough one. It was a rough one.
I didn't see any celebration.
But they've done Limbo, and they've had some good ones. But
Cooper's been pretty good.
Yeah.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
The Markelle Fultz free throw.
Yeah.
With Joe Looney, lane violation, going for the rebound.
But I think you're going to see something with the kettle that the league softens their stance on that. I really do.
If you're going to allow the Lambeau leap.
Yeah. I was there for the first one.
Yeah, you were. I mean, this is a charitable cause. There's worse things to do after a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Who started that? Lambeau leap.
Actually, it happened. We were playing the Los Angeles Raiders at the time, and Reggie White was going to scoop and score, and he got stopped, and he lateraled the ball to Leroy Butler, and Leroy Butler took it the rest of the way and just ran and turned and jumped into the stands. 1993.
And that's where it all started.
And that's where it started, right there. 93, 94. But I was right there on the sidelines playing the Raiders that day. But Reggie White trying to score, but lateraled it, and Leroy Butler was the inventor of it.
You mentioned the Vikings being creative. They had a little game with the Seahawks last night. Could be a preview of what's to come in the first round of the playoffs if and when the Cowboys get in. Let's talk about what the playoff picture is kind of looking like and kind of what we're thinking. We'll take a quick break. This is Cowboys Happy Hour live from Concrete Cowboy. We'll pay some bills and we'll be right back.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You see how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America, BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown. To learn more, visit moneyhabits.com.
I definitely have an Instagram foodie, but the low-light camera on my Samsung Galaxy S from AT&T is getting me a whole new world of likes and shares. Baskets of bread by candlelight, colorful fruit plates in full sun. Even a dim Cobb salad was recently hailed as a masterpiece.
Come in now and ask how to get half off the new Samsung Galaxy S9 from AT&T. AT&T, your thing, that's our thing. Limited time only. See store for details. att.com/Samsung. Dual aperture supports f1.5 mode and f2.4 mode. Dual aperture is installed on the rear camera.
Oh, I am craving a Dr. Pepper. Want some soda? I asked for soda. I asked for ice cold, quotable Dr. Pepper. Its flavor is more one of a kind than a toad sloth with a thirst for speed. So stop settling for soda and start demanding Dr. Pepper. Love sloths. When you crave a Dr. Pepper, nothing else will do. Grab an ice-cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper today. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
To work this big land, you need equipment with values rooted as deep in Texas soil as you are. John Deere compact tractors with a 6-year powertrain warranty and big features that help you work less so you have more time to do what you love. John Deere was first in the Texas field. We're proud to be on the field as the official ag and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Find Texas-sized deals at myjohndeeredealer.com/football. Terms, conditions, exclusions, and limitations apply. See dealer for details.
Back to the happy hour.
Yeah, check this out.
With the DallasCowboys.com All-Stars.
That's what you call trying to put as much food in your mouth and your stomach as you can in 2 minutes. We did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good food, too.
Good food here at Concrete Cowboy. We're live here, Concrete Cowboy, the Star in Frisco. It is happy hour. I'm joined by Brian Broaddus, Nick Eatman, Rob Phillips, and always Nate Newton. And Nate, we've got another fan question. Who you got out there?
I have Scott.
Hey, Scott.
And Scott works outside of
Raleigh, North Carolina, but I cover the Midwest. So
Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm going somewhere there. He's
big Panthers fan.
I don't know how to put this, but he was in the Air Force for a lot of years, and he's like a tech. He works with all hearts and anatomy and software, but the company he works for, what's the name of that company?
Siemens.
Siemens Company.
Yeah.
He works for.
All right. Yeah.
And he has a question here.
Okay, Nate.
All right, so my question is about Tavon Austin. I think he's close to coming back. Do you think he'll have a bigger impact on offense or on, say, punt return?
Yeah.
I love Cole Beasley, but the fair catch at the 10-yard line, it's like
touchdown celebrations. If they get a celebration,
dancing, right? His dancing, right?
He's gonna win.
In case you have not noticed, because they probably don't show this a lot on the broadcast. He has replaced Rowdy as the team's mascot. He wears gloves out to pregame. He wears sleeveless shirts. I can't wait to get him back in uniform for that.
He was out there working on the field today. So, and I think he's going to be the punt return guy. I really do. They've got some nice things they've done with Jordan Lewis with the jet sweeps and things like that. I think there's still some traction they can get with Tavon Austin here. But I think the punt return aspect of it, if they can, I just remember again going back to my Green Bay days, we had Desmond Howard when we were on the playoff run, and Desmond Howard just flipped the field every single time. And I think if the way the defense is playing, if you can get people to punt, you get guys like him to make big returns.
Right, if you don't get no return, and every time
exactly.
I mean, he catches the ball great.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's really much no run after the catch there. And I
Absolutely.
think especially in the playoffs, we'll need something.
It would help.
Yeah.
You need somebody that can flip the field for you.
I think we're all a little bit interested to see how Austin could be a part of this offense with a real number one receiver now. And that's one thing about the receiver core that I like is that if Austin comes back, everybody's in the role that they should be in. Gallup should be in like number 2, number 3, deep threat. Amari should be number 1. Beasley should be a slot guy, and Austin should be kind of a trick guy. They're having to do different things, and Hearns was not even included in that because he's where he should be as well. So I think this is now everybody's kind of all set where they're kind of should be slotted.
That's a good point. And on the punt returns, I was looking it up today. He only had 10 before his injury, and he is getting close to coming back. His long was a 22-yarder against Houston that set him up to try to go win the game.
Right.
They just couldn't cash in on offense, but they brought him in large part to be that guy to flip field position.
Yeah, and before Cooper got on this team, he was really the only guy that could break one besides Zeke. He was the only other guy, so it's going to be really interesting with Cooper and that whole dynamic because you kind of forget about him, but he's got the ability to take one.
I'm sorry, Lance Lenore, you're going to be inactive from now on once he comes back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Or
playoffs.
Maybe Hearns. I shouldn't say
somebody has to.
Yeah, someone. Yeah. Let's talk playoffs.
That there's something to be said there.
No, they might like
that one makes the most sense.
Yeah, Lance Lenore on special teams. Yeah.
If they're going to put a first-round pick at defensive end inactive for a game, why not Allen Hearns?
Yeah. That's true.
Because he doesn't give you the things that Lenore and Noah Brown give you.
Right.
Something to think about.
Yeah, something to watch. Yeah. Playoffs, where are we at right now? Fill me in. I'm a little behind on my playoff, where we're at, where we could be. Just what are some possibilities where we're at right now?
Well, we're just focused on the day.
Okay.
We're focused on
All right,
Tuesday.
Rob,
Focus on the Colts.
Watch me roll my eyes.
We did a video on this a couple days ago with Taylor. They need to win, or a Philly and Washington loss clinches this division for Dallas. That's where they're at right now.
All three are possible because who's the Redskins play this week?
Jacksonville.
And then Philly plays the Rams.
Yeah.
And then we play at Indy, which is they're doing pretty darn good right now.
Yeah.
But you could have all three very realistically happen this weekend.
Not a bad scenario with 3 games left.
Yeah.
Well, that's how important this last win was.
Yeah.
Just set up a lot of good things for you.
When this team was 3-5, did you ever imagine that you had a chance to clinch the division with 2 games left?
Is this the pre-trade or post-trade?
No, this is
Either.
Post-trade. Post-trade after the Titans lost.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who the head coach would be at the end of the year.
No, that's the truth. I was like, I know my timeline just became littered with goodbye Garrett, goodbye Linehan, goodbye Jerry Jones. I mean, everybody,
Dak.
Goodbye Dak, goodbye everybody.
When's the draft show start?
When the draft, but they've held things together. They really, really have. This going out and getting Amari Cooper has made a huge, and let's not again the change at offensive line coach.
Yes.
You still see sacks and stuff, but they won a game the other day with Cam Fleming, Suafilo, and Joe Looney playing. They beat a good Washington Redskin football team with those 3 guys playing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that just shows you the influence that Mark Colombo has had to get the room back together, and to do the things. There's still issues like Nick talked about opening in the show. You can't give up as many sacks as they're giving. You just can't do that. But I tell you what, if they can control that or get that in line, this offense will be hard to stop. It really, really is.
It does
unless it stops itself.
You just mentioned the O-line. Tyron being out last year messed things up for this offense, and Sean Lee being out messed things up for the defense. And he's been out how many weeks in a row, and both sides of the ball have continued to click. And it's so different from last year. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's the way the linebackers have played. It's allowed them to be really cautious, maybe overly cautious with Sean Lee.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, hey, maybe we don't have to push it as hard. Maybe we don't have to come back in 3 weeks. Maybe we can make it 5 weeks or whatever. And, that's credit to the front office for having the vision to draft Leighton Vander Esch, but also to draft Jalen Smith as well. Yep. I mean, you're looking at a guy that wanted nothing to do with Jalen Smith. Really. Miles Jack was my guy, but Jalen Smith has been outstanding as well.
How big of an influence is Sean Lee, even though he's not been in the games? How big of an influence on Van Der Esch's success has he been? Is that all just pure physical talent, or is there something to be said for Sean Lee being in his ear and being in that room and all that?
You guys, but do you think that he's had the opposite effect of what Tony Romo had on Dak Prescott when he was first here? That, like, maybe Sean Lee's actually helping Leighton Van Der Esch where Tony Romo wasn't helping, you know? I think that's where Sean Lee is. Sean Lee's the ultimate team player.
I agree with you, Brian. I don't think, though, Tony was hurting Dak, like trying to keep him down.
No, but
you're right. Sanchez was the guy that was helping him.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think Lee is just by example. I mean, you know, he really does. I mean, Van Der Esch, he's got, like you said, he's huge. You know, he's a huge player, and I mean, he's got it figured out. And when he said early on, no, it's not really that fast. You know, like the speed of the game, like, no, not really. I mean, I guess playing Nevada in the Mountain West, I guess that got him prepared for this. But you know, I'm like, really?
Have fun in that Air Force game, yeah.
I guess so. I mean, if he doesn't win Defensive Rookie of the Year, probably the guy that they're going to face this week probably will, Darius Leonard.
Yeah.
And no
maybe the
disrespect,
guy with the
James,
Los Angeles Chargers too.
Those three
James,
right there, but Darius Leonard and Leighton Van Der Esch are the two best rookie linebackers in the NFL.
We talked to Leighton last week about Sean's influence, your question, and he said he called him like my big brother, and I feel like I've known him my whole life. That's not lip service. I mean, that really does speak to what Sean
Dak
is.
didn't say
that. No, I mean, that's really what speaks to what Sean has tried to do. And I don't think it's any coincidence that their lockers are right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I think that to me, I'm sorry, Nate, go ahead in there.
You know, we had that impact of a veteran, but he came from another team. It's when Charles Haley came to us.
Right.
And the little things he did, and I agree, whereas Leighton says the game was not too fast for him, that's because of Sean Lee. When you got a guy that's smart enough to show you how to be a professional, show you how to go in there and watch film the proper way, look at what techniques, and playing linebacker, and Broadus, you can vouch for it, and playing linebacker, we as offensive linemen like to give you fake this, fake that.
Try and get you moving.
And so if we can get you thinking another thing as a split second, that gives that Zach Ertz a chance to get behind you.
Yeah.
Well, with Sean Lee, he's telling him this, and when he's seeing it in practice, in games, it gives him he beats the bell curve.
Yeah.
Now, when Charles Haley came in, he helped me in a different way. He helped me lose weight. Well, with Tony Tolbert, he taught him how to look at film, taught Russell Maryland how to look at film. When you have a veteran guy like that, that's why I'm in Sean Lee corner.
Yeah.
Let the kid play, but I'm in Sean Lee corner. You can't. That's type of guy. That's type of veteran that you can pay some decent money, be there in spot play, but more importantly, man, in the film room, coaches can sit down.
There was one play last week in that game that you wish Sean Lee was on the field.
Which one?
The fourth down play that went to Darren Sproles.
Oh,
because Sean Lee would have known.
He would have attacked him.
He would have seen. He would have seen Darren Sproles' alignment, and this is the only reason. Leighton Van Der Esch was in coverage, but Leighton had never played against Darren Sproles, and in that down and distance situation, Sean Lee would have seen him in the game and said, "Something is about to happen. I'm going to get a pick route, and he's going to go behind him." And Leighton Van Der Esch, I guarantee you, Sean Lee on when they watched film together said, "Hey, next time you get a back that comes into the game and aligns that wide, you got to watch for the pick. You got to watch for that." And that's just experience, because Sean Lee would have beaten the pick, but he would have gotten outside, I think, to Sproles. And then now the quarterback doesn't have a way to throw the football.
Was it the 2016 overtime win against Philly where he read the play to Sproles the whole way and they got him back in the game?
I firmly believe that play right there, that 6-yard
knocked him out of
loss,
field goal range.
changed the whole direction of the Cowboys franchise.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Dak was playing so poorly, they were going to go to Romo at some point after that. They're finally waiting on him to show that crack. And if they would have lost, they would have gone. And then they won 5 in a row after that.
Yeah.
So that never happened. But that play by Sean Lee that knocked him out of field goal range, and the Eagles lost that game. It's so ironic how those two games mirrored each other.
Sounds like a deep blue short.
But that's the thing.
Do it.
That's the thing, though, that Leighton Van Der Esch is going to learn. And Sean Lee's going to sit there and point him out and goes, okay, you get a back like this that comes into the game. He hadn't been playing much in the game, and all of a sudden they put him in this fourth down situation. Who do you think they're throwing the football to? 43, 86? let's focus in on 43 right here, you know, and be that guy.
And when we was watching that, over there, I was like, I'm thinking, if that was Sean Lee, once he read that, where our young guy messed up is he should have just took off.
Yeah, but Leighton took a step up.
When he hesitated, you saw Sproles smile. I got you.
Yeah.
Whereas Lee would have just took off.
Yeah, take off running, just busted up because once he took the step forward, Alshon Jeffrey was right on top of him, and he had to avoid him. Yeah.
Is there anyone else, you brought this up, defensive MVP, is there anyone else? To me, Byron Jones comes to mind. Is there anyone else on this defense that's even in that conversation as far as on this team, defensive MVP?
Can I throw a dark horse guy?
Absolutely.
How about the human log?
Yeah.
I mean, and I say this in a way of respect because they went and got Antoine Woods really off the scrap heap.
Yeah.
And they got a starter, a legitimate one-technique badass that plays, and he makes everybody around him so much better. But you're saying MVP, but like a dark horse guy. I mean, you got Byron Jones and Tank and all these guys. But go back, if you have a chance, ever sit down and watch the human log play just down after down after down.
After down.
He is so violent inside. He's so violent. They couldn't block him inside. Couldn't block him.
That's why he needs to be playing full back. Not every play.
Iron Man football?
I'm telling you, I just think on the goal line, I say it over and over, they need somebody with some beef, some push, and I would put him in, not to get the ball, and maybe not right away. He doesn't need to be the fridge, but they need somebody. Wally's not doing it.
No.
They need that guy. Look at what the Bears are doing with those packages over there. I think he could do it.
I have a question while we're on defense. Now that the Bears, the Cowboys, I think one other team, the Seahawks, all except we win in our division.
Yeah.
But the bottom half of the NFC is playing great defense.
Yeah.
The top half of the NFC is kind of virtually winning on offense.
Yeah.
Is defense still viable in this league?
I think the Saints, Nate.
They
have
got
a
a great
good
defense too.
So
but their defense is solely predicated if can you keep them fresh. Well, we know our defense can hit the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
And we know that other defense can hit the 30-minute mark.
The age-old question.
Why would I rather play the Rams in the playoffs than the Saints again?
Because half that stadium.
I would rather you guys load up on a big 777 and go land there at the Coliseum and go try and win me a game.
Because half the stadium is going to be wearing blue and silver.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I know the Rams have got a good crowd there lately, but on those playoff games, they're hard to sell. In a couple of weeks' notice, I think the Cowboys would get a lot of those tickets, and I don't want any part of the Saints again.
Will the defense be enough? That's the question.
It was
because
once.
Because I tell people like this. I've been to them Super Bowls, and I've been a part of great defenses. And Jimmy always told me, I said, Coach, we got a great defense. He said, Nate, you got to score.
Yeah.
And it always proves out. We be looking for those low-scoring games, but somehow, some way, teams in the playoff find a way to score.
I'm taking my
points.
chances blocking. I'm taking a chance with Zach Martin blocking Aaron Donald, and let's try and go everywhere else.
Right.
I think you could score points against the Rams. As good as the Rams look on paper, defensive. Wade Phillips has to be beside himself. I mean, some people have hung some numbers on him.
Saints.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people have hung some numbers. Chiefs. I mean, that's a guy that's got a lot of pride. Yeah.
Let me ask y'all this, and this is off of your point. Halfway through that game Sunday, I had this thought,
of losing.
Well, no, not really, because I felt like they were as bad as they were playing. To me, they never let it get out of control. And we always, on our show, we've been talking about the previous 3 weeks. Right. You got to start scoring 6. You can't keep kicking field goals. It's going to catch up with you. And then halfway through that game, I look up and they have 9 points, and it feels like they're in control. And I started going, with this team, do they have to score 6? Do they? Because guess what? They didn't score 6 against the Saints. They did, but not consistently. They didn't do it really until they had to in this game. Is this team built to where you can just hang in there, and then at every end of every game, you got a shot?
They gave up 6. They put 6. The offense gave their team 6.
I don't trust in that, man.
I don't trust it, but is that enough for this team to win consistently?
I trust that by the time we get through these next 3 games, And I know they can say he ain't figured that out all year, but I got to trust
what?
that they haven't figured it out all year.
I thought,
Okay,
thank you, because I heard something else.
You got me.
Did I say something crazy?
No, you're good. Keep going.
I was hitting the cough button here.
Hey, man, forget y'all. Y'all didn't like my man joke up here. Now y'all trying to find one. Anyway, I do not trust that. They have not figured it out. And I'm thinking the closer we get, and if we stay at that 4 seed, can we score enough? And I'm not saying 28 points. In the playoffs, you can catch a team at 24, 26 points. Are we good enough?
Yeah.
And then through these next few games, will we be good enough?
We'll find out.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rams and the Saints aren't scoring, not just against this team. The Saints, they're not scoring like they were earlier in the season.
Well, they don't.
And that's,
Yeah, but the
maybe
Saints,
teams are figuring them out a little bit.
But the Saints against Tampa is traditionally a bad matchup for them.
Yeah,
there's certain teams in the NFC South that kind of have each other's numbers when it comes to these things.
Yeah, it just Rams the other night too. I'm
Yeah.
thinking back to the 07 Pats who went undefeated.
The cold gets the Rams.
Yeah.
That quarterback's no good in the cold.
But the Pats in 07 were putting up 40 points a game, and by the end of the season, it was getting smaller and smaller point totals.
Defenses catch up.
Yeah.
They catch up. I mean, it took them a while to figure it out, but I need them 26
Can you
points.
run the football in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And I know it's about scoring points, but can you what's the one way? How do you beat Philadelphia the other day? You just physically wore them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the end, what happened in overtime? You held the ball for 8 minutes and 10 seconds, you know? And Garrett went for it on 4th down. Congratulations.
Unreal.
Great call.
Unreal.
But, yeah, that's what in the playoffs, that's how you have to play. You can't turn the ball over. Great defense and just run the football. But I don't know. I'm sure the number of folks out there will argue with me that you have to throw, you have to throw, you have to throw. And maybe you'll have to throw to beat a Saints team again or beat a Rams team or something like that. Maybe you'll have to play that way.
Let's take another break. When we come back, we talked about defensive MVP. I want to see who you guys – there's a couple of guys you could probably throw in there on the offensive side of the ball. Interested to see who you think is worthy at this point in the season of that award. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back on Cowboys Happy Hour.
Cowboys fans know that the second best of anything simply won't cut it, and your skincare will be no different. A longtime locker room favorite of the players and the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas-based Jack Black is the _1 best men's skincare brand in the country because we make products that guys look, smell, and feel better. Visit getblack.com/Cowboys to get $10 off your first order of $50 or more. Jack Black. Look good, smell good, feel good. Official men's skincare brand of Dallas Cowboys.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game week travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director Player Personnel Will McClellan, and, of course, with yours truly, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel pro. Visit cowboytravel.com to book your travel package today.
Before there was a draft, you'd size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: crease in his hat, the bend his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it injected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all respecting Cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at Stetson.com/Cowboys.
I definitely have an Instagram foodie thing, but the low-light camera on my new Samsung Galaxy S from AT&T is getting me a whole new world of likes and shares. Baskets of bread by Candlelight, colorful fruit plates, full sun. Even a dim Cobb salad was recently hailed as a masterpiece.
Come in now and ask how to get off the new Samsung Galaxy S9 from AT&T. AT&T. Your thing. That's our thing. Limited time only. See store for details. AT&T.com/Samsung. Dual aperture supports f1.5 mode and f2.4 mode. Dual aperture is installed on the rear camera.
Back to the Happy Hour. Yeah, check this out. With the DallasCowboys.com All-Stars.
Happy Hour, back for the final segment with Bangin' Brian Broaddus, Nasty Nick Eatman, the quiet one, Rob Phillips.
That doesn't really just roll off the tongue. We'll come up with something else.
No, I like it. Okay, we'll work on that for next time you're on the show.
Gentleman Jim Cornette,
and
something like that.
And big body banging Nate Newton. What's up, Big Nate.
Man, just working on my English.
Don't do that.
I think you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I will.
This show would not be near as fun.
I like that, Nick. Dry humor, but I love it.
That was subtle. I like it.
Remind me to punch you when we get off.
You punched me to start the show. I was like, I'm not Clyde Simmons. You can't just be hitting me like that.
Oh, man, this is a great place to watch sports, by the way. They
No
had some
doubt.
awesome TVs in here. They got some really good food. We appreciate the people at
really do.
Concrete Cowboy for having us out every week.
Appreciate the fans coming out with the
Yeah,
questions,
the fans
too.
that are here.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you, guys.
questions.
The ones that are here because of us and the ones that are here that didn't know we were going to be here and letting us invade their space. So, both. So
They're counting the minutes right now.
yeah, we're almost done. We've got about 14 minutes left, people, so we'll be out of here shortly. Let's talk about offensive MVP up to this point in the season. Two people that automatically come to mind. Zeke has been carrying the load week after week after week. And, of course, Amari Cooper has just changed the way this team looks. Do you have a dark horse, or are those your two front runners?
Joe Looney.
Yep.
Joe Looney?
Joe Looney's my guy. Joe Looney is – this thing could have been an absolute disaster in the middle of the – and he had that low snap that I felt so sorry for him. I was like, oh, please, Joe. Oh, no, that kind of thing. But if you look at what
You didn't say that it's nice on the show the other day. It wasn't old Joe like that.
It was not nice, Nate. You know that. But, yeah, to me, though, this could have been an absolute disaster in the middle. They could have been rotating guys that could have not been done. Joe Looney has not only stepped in and he's done a fabulous job. He really, really has. He's played there's been new guards next to him. He's had guys now. He's lost the president on one side for a little bit at time during games. He's done everything he can to hold things in the middle together. And I think that he deserves my dark horse consideration for that.
And just a great guy on and off the field.
Yeah.
I mean, just an awesome dude.
The dark horse. I mean, to me, it's Zeke. I mean, as far as MVP. But if you're going to go dark horse, there's only one player I think that's undefeated as a starter.
Who's
that? That's Su'a-Filo.
Su'a-Filo,
got in there. Philly is 5-0 as a starter, and he's been battling and grinding. He had an ankle injury a couple of weeks ago.
Played better last week.
Yeah, I don't think – it sounds good to say they got 3 backups or 2 backups. I don't think he's a backup anymore. I think it's his job, and I think he'd be my dark horse guy. But, to me, Zeke's the one that, you say they can win without Sean, they can win without Tyron now. I don't know about that. They can't barely get yards without Zeke. So,
That's you, Rob.
I'd go with Zeke, too, despite what Amari's done in the 6-game stretch. Dark horse, I'm with Brian on Looney.
Yeah.
The other thing about Looney is he had surgery in the offseason. He didn't have any idea that Travis Frederick would be dealing with what he's dealing with the autoimmune illness, and he kept himself ready, recommitted his body, got in better shape, and was
stronger.
Yeah, he
stronger.
took the Ron Leary approach there,
and was prepared for this opportunity without any idea that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So credit to him.
I'm going to go with earlier what you said, man, and it's 2 or 3 guys for me. That's Ross, Reed, and the human law, Antoine, because these guys – none of us knew them.
Yeah.
And they have made it where Sean Lee, the Wolf Hunter, and the Predator, they running, man.
Yeah.
They are and this is what I try to make people understand. I promise you, if we didn't have a great 1 technique, a great 3 technique, we would not be hearing about these guys. Because linemen will be second level them to death.
If we go for the complete team bit, how about Anthony Brown? Has Anthony Brown kind of changed your mind a little bit about, I know on my timeline, a lot of fans were pretty much like, why isn't Jordan Lewis playing? Why Anthony Brown, he's awful. Why isn't, but I think our mind has changed, for the fan. I don't get that pushback as much now talking about Anthony Brown.
I feel validated. I wrote last week, I wrote a column about these 3 players are the most underappreciated guys on the team.
Yeah.
Looney, Anthony Brown, Tyrone Crawford. I think Tyrone Crawford's playing great in there, so I feel better about that now.
There's another MVP like
Tyrone Crawford.
Yeah.
Him and Tank both, what I think that they've done with the whole Hot Boys thing is they've made guys, and no disrespect to them, the Antoine Woods and Daniel Ross and Karan Reed, they've made them a group, a unit, kind of, more important than you would think from your backup linemen like that. But they have a purpose, and they go out there, and they're playing as one, but they're kind of individually as well. Those guys right there, what they've done, and it's real easy, and we're seeing that in Pittsburgh. It's real easy for DeMarcus Lawrence to not be a leader on this team and worry about himself. He signed that thing the first day they gave him the franchise tag, And there's
Smiling,
there's
by the
different
way.
ways to do
Right.
it. No, I mean, Pittsburgh guy's got his own thing. I'm talking about Le'Veon Bell, but what Tank did, not only to play and then to be a leader, his future is uncertain, I think.
I don't think I would do that a second time, though. I think I mean, I would think about trying to get that deal done.
You're right. It's a second time for Bell. I get it.
When you get in that situation where they're starting and you're thinking, and he plays a very violent position, running back. We're seeing, the Zeke is banged up right now. We were all talking about what's the best way to handle Zeke. I mean, if you get this thing clinched, if you know you're the 4th seed, do you just rest him the last 2 weeks, or do you keep playing to try and get the 3rd seed?
I think you're going to see Darius Jackson on this roster at some point here in the next few weeks. Maybe for that reason there to help it, but he might give you a little bit more spark too. Someone needs to return a kickoff because I don't think Lewis is the guy, and I don't think Tavon comes back to do that. And real fortunate there. These kickoffs, you're starting to see colder weather. They're not going to be traveling as far. You're going to see more returns. Darius Jackson might be a good option there too.
Yeah. You know what I like about this defensive line? We were talking about all the defensive line guys. They're starting to get something they haven't had in recent memory. Tyrone Crawford on the field, nicest guy in the world off the field. He's really been the only one that's had a little bit of an attitude, a little chippiness to him. Antoine Woods is bringing that. Like if you watch him during the game, he gets in guys' faces.
Yeah.
He drives you into the ground and he'd let you know that he dominated you. Tyrone's that guy. I think Daniel Ross has got a little bit of that. Tank's nice. He's a leader on the field, but I just don't get the feeling he's nasty.
Well,
he got some nasty.
How about that celebration they tried to have?
What happened with that, dude? Has anybody asked him what was going on?
No, I didn't. All I saw was
they
tried to set up some family picture, and the Hot Boys were having none of that.
Like, man, what's up with that? They was acting like, what's up with this?
Yeah.
What's up?
They're like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
You hadn't won the game yet. Get out of here.
Exactly.
But I tell people, Tank Lawrence is loving these guys. Like you say, he's got them motivated and going. He's loving them because they're giving him that push. Quarterbacks cannot get away from him now because he's giving them that push. But, man, that's why, more importantly, I need for Minnesota to come on in here.
Yeah.
I don't want no quarterback that can move. I want you standing right there where we can get a hold of you.
Drew Brees, just stand there.
Stand right there.
Well, it's not going to be Minnesota. It's going to be, I think, Cowboys catching the Bears and being the 3 seed.
That's the case. The 6th seed. Let me ask you guys this. Dark horse MVP coach. Is there a coach you have, a coach on the staff? We've all talked about Chris Richard. Is there a coach, though, Mark Colombo? Is there a coach that that his guys are playing well enough?
That coaches the linebackers.
Ben Bloom.
Because he's smart enough to let Sean Lee help him in that room.
Ben Bloom?
And he's smart enough to let his guys go.
Is there kind of been an unsung coach?
I like Colombo. I don't know if he's unsung, but you made 2 changes. That's it. Right. And it's turned this team completely around. You went out and got Amari Cooper. You made the offensive line change. I think these guys were used to Colombo. They were used to the way he talked to them, the way he coached them, the way he interacted with them. He stepped right in, and immediately you saw they look like a completely different line with the same guys. And to me, that's my guy.
Give me Big Cat Leon Lett for what he's doing with the D tackles. I mean, we've been talking about Antoine Woods, and David Irving, when he's here, is available.
Have we seen him yet?
Big difference. Malik Collins has been banged up.
I saw him on a milk carton the other day. I mean,
but what you're getting from those tackles?
Commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rob. I mean,
what you're getting from these tackles is really good, and it's been a different group at times because of injuries and absences and suspensions and all that.
Nate, before we get Nick's opinion, have you talked to Leon about these guys at all? Like, I know you guys are kind of tight.
Just basically, man, what you see, man, he gets in their heads, he talks to them, but he just teaches that technique, and you see him out there all the time. Now he's kind of in that millennial world, where how he can talk their language.
Yeah.
But he was a good technician through Charles, and Charles Haley is another guy that's out there with him twice a week. And Charles, believe it or not, Charles be watching films.
Yeah.
And but on that same note, man, I need some insight on Taco Charles.
Yeah. That's a healthy scratch right there.
I need some insight, Nick.
I think
not playing, not performing. I mean,
this is what you can do when you're winning, though. This is what you can do. You can use this as teachable moments. Hey, listen, I know you're a first round pick, but you know what? We had a kid over here that's a 4th round pick that's playing better than you. We got a defensive tackle that also kicks to the outside and can kick back to the inside. We got a guy that just went through hell to get back here to play football.
Right,
it's important to him to play football. We need your attitude to be a little bit better about playing football. And again, I think that's where you use these teachable moments. It's not just, and let's be honest, Taco started off well.
Yes.
Taco started off well, and then he got injured, and then it was like, they was like, well, listen, we don't have time. It was really next man up.
And the shoulder about a month ago.
And then next man up turned into, listen, you're now a healthy and active guy because, we've got guys that were winning games. It's like changing the left guard. They're not going to change the left guard until something happens. They're going with Suafilo. And they're going with the rotation they have at right defensive end until Taco proves that he can, A, practice, and when they're working with him, he's showing some violence and he's showing some pass rush
and
moves.
set the edge.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus the run.
Yeah. Nick, who's your coach?
You know what? I'm going to go with I'll take it up to the head coach and talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a dark horse, I guess you would think.
Guy's going to lose his job, according to me.
But the thing about it is that guy that was on the sidelines the other day and then in the post-game press conference, I don't know who he was.
Me either. Called that play on 4th and 1.
Didn't seem like Jason Garrett really on a lot of things. But the last two games, you got the Saints, you've got the Eagles, and they have led the game from start to finish. I mean, they have not been trailing.
Yeah.
They've never not been in the lead or tied with those two teams. And, you look at this 5-game winning streak, it's 27 points total for 5 games. And that's pretty close, but they've been controlling all these games. He gives them a consistent message, and he's got them playing. You got to give them some credit for what they did in overtime and in that fourth quarter to get them there.
Hey, where are we on Coach Lanahan? Scott Lanahan, where are we on
I
him?
think the fact that Jerry went out and got him a legitimate number 1 receiver, and the fact that he's now got some group of those tight ends look like, at least for 1 week, maybe that secondary for the Eagles was so bad that the tight end showed up. But I think you are seeing some stuff from Dalton Schultz. I think you're seeing some stuff from Blake Jarwin. You start having the ability to run the football. The thing about it is the protection has not been great. But even without protection, they found ways to move the football. I mean, think about the passes that keep going to Gallup, that's just points. That's just every time you look up at you're thinking, he called it. That was an aggressive call he made to try and end that game the other day. They complete that pass down to Gallup. The game is over.
Over.
There's no overtime. There's nothing.
Yes.
It's over. First down, they're dead. And so
same thing with the Saints. If he'd have hit him on that one, game's
exactly.
over.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. I think the fact that he does have some weapons, a big-time weapon to use, and some guys to supplement that, I think you're seeing now, again, the stuff in the red zone is problematic to me. Inside the 10 has been problematic. But I went back and looked at all during the winning streak. You've had some negative plays. You've had some sacks. You've had some drops. You've had some missed assignments. The play caller, but how about the players, though? How about the players a little bit?
Teams have loaded up against Zeke down there, and they've had chances in the passing game.
Right.
Beasley with a drop against Atlanta. I mean,
they've had some sacks.
Yeah.
You think about that.
Noah Brown was open.
The sack.
There's pressure on
but
Dak
when they've
in that
run the
play.
ball, it hasn't been one of the best plays I went back and saw. You remember this play in the Philadelphia game where they got down on the 7-yard line and they faked the inside handoff to Beasley and they ran Zeke to the flat and he was wide open and Dak just hit him right there and that was a touchdown. You're thinking, oh, where's that play? Where's that more of that stuff? But they've had some plays where they've just run the ball. They try to shovel pass to Schultz that only gained 2 yards. They're trying to do some creative things, but they just don't get the blocking all the time they need.
And that is the advantage. And I know Brothers probably watched, y'all probably watched the game. That is the difference between us and the Seattle. Seattle is playing a cleaner game. They're playing not the
Was
bad,
their quarterback
bad
a 10 of 20 last night, though?
Yeah, but no. But you're talking about the quarterback?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about if we're going to be a running team,
we
have to have a cleaner game.
Yeah.
And then when we pass it can't be those bad, even though Tyron didn't hold his dude for 2 times.
Yeah.
On 2 of those.
Yeah.
But we got to be cleaner. That's all I'm saying. And by Rob saying he looked at it's the players, you saying, hey, blame some down on players. As you go down the stretch, and I know Jason probably preaching this because Jerry's preaching it to us. Man, we got to be cleaner.
Yeah.
We having too many bad penalties. We got to be cleaner as a team.
We got to get out of here. So, Broadus, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys.
Great show.
Appreciate you,
Nick,
boys.
thanks for
All right.
showing up.
All right, boys.
Rob, Nate,
Rally.
thank you guys.
And I want to thank you guys for coming, man, being a part of me and my man's award-winning show.
Yes. Thank you for showing up
Yeah.
for me and Nate.
Free
Thanks
food,
for,
Nate.
welcome,
Do that.
buddy, man.
Thanks for supporting
Wow,
us.
God.
Thanks to the fans. Thanks to
Thanks to
Concrete
Concrete
Cowboy.
Cowboy.
Thanks for you fellas pushing the buttons. We'll be back next week on Cowboys Happy Hour.
Championship hats.